I'd like to thank the range of deputies and ministers from all sides of the House for their contribution today, and I will reply to some of the points in order to provide clarification. But from the get-go, can I welcome the overwhelming, if not total, sense of solidarity between this House and the people of Ukraine, and particularly those from opposition members who recognise that this is utterly an illegal, brutal war by the Russian Federation under the yoke of Vladimir Putin, initiated solely by the Russian Federation. And I think the response to this brutal war has been remarkable. We are seeing unparalleled levels of European solidarity, both European Union and broader European solidarity, recognising the absolute need to provide that support for Ukraine. And I think it's important just to clarify a few points, and I do so respectfully. Deputy Healy-Rae, Minister Canny didn't say we're looking to train Ukrainian soldiers for war. I'm just providing a clarification. I'm not looking to get into a debate on it. What we are doing is we do send members of the Defence Forces to train in demining activities. That's not training people for war. That's removing landmines from potentially targeting civilians. I'm not taking issues with the other points you raised. Just on that specific one, I think is particularly important. Deputy Lawless from Mayo said, respectfully, Deputy Healy-Rae, we are not taking sides as a military neutral. Deputy, respectfully, I answered the one technical point which is clear. Training people to remove landmines isn't taking sides in a war. And when I make it quite clear, and it is a national position, we're not politically neutral, we're militarily neutral. And if you think it's taking sides by removing landmines from blowing up women and children, that is a different interpretation of what we're doing. Deputy Lawless, Lascan Corla, made the point that the triple lock goes back to 2001, when actually it goes back to the 1960 Defence Act. And I think I say that deliberately because it is important to provide clarity. Deputy Collins managed to make a 3-minute interjection in a debate about Ukraine and not mention Ukraine once. I think this is really important. Other people went on and discussed issues with immigration and tied it to Ukraine, and I have no issue with that. People are right to raise issues and points of clarification, as you did, Deputy Healy-Rae, and I respect your right to do so and acknowledge the points you raised. But when people just go off and bring up the EU migration pact that has nothing specifically to do with providing shelter for up to 118,000 Ukrainian refugees, it really takes issue with the essence of what we're trying to debate here. Deputy Heenan, you raised a number of very clear points that require a specific response. Firstly, in relation to the need to strengthen our capabilities as a militarily neutral sovereign country, and I fully agree with you, and that's why our review, the Commission on the Future of Defence, laid out 3 options, and this government's pursuing the second option. First and foremost has been a massive increase in resources to our capability in terms of cyber defence, which is very clear. The new setting up of a maritime defence system to make sure those undersea cables can be monitored. But one thing I think we do need to acknowledge is the requirement for cooperation when it comes to defence. Now, that doesn't mean joining any alliances or anything like that, but it is sheer basic common sense that when we're talking about cables that service the entire continent of Europe from North America, that we speak to our neighbours in Europe. And that's why we have a memorandum of understanding since 2050. Respectfully, Deputy Healy-Rae. Deputy Healy-Rae, I only have 10 minutes, and I referred to your point 5 minutes ago. I'm referring to Deputy Heenan's very clear questions and queries. And in relation to that, that's why we have a memorandum of understanding on defence with the United Kingdom. It's why we cooperate in terms of sharing information with the tech companies and the private sectors to provide those cables. But I acknowledge, first and foremost, that we need to do more. And I think this government... Deputy Healy-Rae, what I mean when I say we need to do more, we need to resource our defence forces more, that we need to continue investing in new equipment. Deputy Healy-Rae, respectfully, I answered one technical query you raised. I moved on 5 minutes ago. We're talking about a very situation that impacts your constituents as much as impacts mine. You were given your time. I'm given my time to respond to the government. So respectfully, I'm going to respect, without interruption, Lascan Corla, if that's all right, because the clear point that I want to make is that when we talk about solidarity, Ukraine, when we talk about the cost of providing support to the Ukrainian people in terms of humanitarian, in terms of welcoming people into our homes and our homesteads, we also have to ask, what is the cost of not doing that? What is the cost of a Russian victory in Ukraine? And whether we like it or not, and we believe in some form of splendid geographic isolation, A Russian victory across Ukraine would have massive impact on the continent of Europe, would have massive impact on the European Union that we are members of. If Ukraine falls, where's next? The Baltic states? Poland? We've already seen transgressions of drones into European Union airspace. We've already seen hybrid warfare activity. We've seen systems attacked in Estonia. We saw our own health system, Lascan Corla, hacked a number of years ago and sent offline from a criminal gang that was operating with impunity in the Russian Federation. We see levels of disinformation and misinformation online throughout the electoral process in countries like Netherlands, in countries like France, in countries like Austria. And I've stated before, there's over 50 members of this House who find themselves sanctioned by the Russian Federation due to the diktat of their ambassador here on Orwell Road, simply for speaking out clearly that the Russian war is illegal. And there is tools for accountability. When we talk about sanctions and we enter into the 19th sanction round of EU sanctions against Russia, that's accountability. When we